Welcome to Virtual City Hall School. City Hall is closed, but I'm really glad I have this opportunity to bring you people and connections. And today I'm visiting Ward 9, where I have Councillor Cartmell.
Good morning.
And I also have Ward Reporter Kira.
Hello.
At City Hall School, we learn about what councillors do, and we know that their job is to listen, to learn and decide. And the decisions that they make help us have a really good quality of life. I'm glad that Councillor Cartmell could join us today. I found out some information about him. He likes to read, spend time with his family. He's got 2 cats. He likes to go outside to run, to golf, and to ride his bike. And his very first job was working at Dairy Queen. And I also heard that he likes breakfast foods as much as he likes dessert. So that's kind of cool. Kira, I'm going to turn it over to you to find out a little bit more about our councillor with your questions. Go ahead.
So my first question is, what is the most rewarding part of your work?
Well, thank you for the question. The most rewarding part of my work is the opportunity to meet with and talk to people in my ward and in my community. I really enjoy that time where we exchange ideas, where we talk about problems and we talk about solutions to the various challenges we find in our neighborhoods.
Sounds wonderful. What is the biggest challenge that you face in your work?
I guess the biggest challenge that I usually face is trying to fit in all of the time, all of the things that I have to do in my day and in my week, and still leave time to be able to have those community conversations. So it's often very difficult for people that are working through the day or going to school through the day to come to City Hall and talk to us when we're there. So that means that I have to get out to the neighborhood and talk to people on the evenings and weekends when we all have time to talk about our challenges together. So I think that's the biggest challenge I have, is trying to fit all of those things into an ordinary day and an ordinary week.
That does sound difficult. What did you want to be when you were my age?
Well, how old are you?
I'm 11 years old.
About 11? I'm not sure that I really knew what I wanted to do. I think when I was a kid, people talked about, or my friends would talk about being a fireman or a policeman or a construction worker. And I guess the closest of those things to what I do is a construction worker. I wanted to build things, but more importantly, I wanted to know how they were built and how they worked. And so I didn't really know what that was when I was 11 or 12 years old, but I came to understand later that that meant being an engineer. And so I'm kind of doing what I wanted to do when I was a little kid. I just didn't know what it was then.
That makes sense. What 3 words would you use to describe a great leader?
Well, a leader is someone who listens. A leader is someone who has imagination, because often we have challenges and problems and concerns that we're trying to solve, and it takes some imagination to try to find those solutions. So between listening and a little bit of imagination, there's something that happens where we work together. And I guess that would be the third thing, is collaboration. So we all want to try to make our city a better place going forward, better than it used to be, always better than it used to be. But that doesn't mean that there's not good things in our city. And so trying to build on all of those good things and address the concerns that we have today, I think those are the 3 things that are really important: listening and imagination, and working with other people to find those solutions.
Absolutely. During this time of isolation, what is something that brings you joy?
Going outside. It's I think hard on all of us to be kind of cooped up all the time, right? And all in our own places. I'll tell you an interesting story. With all of the isolation, City Council is trying to do all of their meetings just like this on Hangouts. And we're taking turns going into City Hall. So it was my turn last week. And when I got there, the people all looked weird, and they looked weird because they weren't flat. I could actually see them in 3 dimensions. I said to the city manager, Adam Laughlin, you look really funny to me because you're not flat. You know, you're not like Flat Stanley. You actually have some shape to you. So I think that is something I really look forward to. If you might remember that Dr. Hinshaw said we could have one family that we could sort of share time with. So I have one friend who he's staying home all the time too. I'm staying home all the time, so we're safe. But every couple of days we go for a run together, and that's probably my favorite time.
Yeah, fresh air is
Yeah.
quite uplifting.
Yeah.
There's so many caring citizens in our city. Tell us about some of the hashtag YegCares examples you've seen in your ward.
Oh my, there's and I'm so bad with names I'll forget people's names, but I know that there is a group called Drive Happiness, for instance, and what this group does is they get volunteers who are often retired people to help other people get to medical appointments or to get some shopping done or to do some of those things. Really, all they do is give a ride. And so Drive Happiness is that thing that connects volunteer drivers to people that just need a lift, and often just somebody to talk to a little bit. So that's one example of YEG Cares. Another example of an organization is Meals on Wheels. I'm not sure if you've learned about this yet, but about Meals on Wheels, and that's a group that tries to give those that need a little bit of help an opportunity to have a warm meal, and they deliver that meal. But at the same time, it gives them a chance to visit with somebody for a couple of minutes and make sure they're doing okay. So there's those people. There's a lot of people that are working as volunteers on the mental health line, so when people are struggling a little bit with being inside or, worried about their job or that kind of a thing, it gives, they have a number they can call and there's somebody at the other end that will talk to them a little bit. There's lots of members of our community leagues that are looking out for their neighbors. So making sure that, that person next door is okay, or if they need something picked up, or if they need some groceries, or they need to get to an appointment. I think there's all kinds of people that are really trying to take care of their families and take care of their friends and take care of their neighbors. So I don't know if I can give you any one name of one person, but I'm sure hearing about a lot of people doing a lot of things for each other.
What do you hope we all learn or take away from this experience? And what advice do you have for children like me?
Well, I think part of the lesson to learn is that when we take care of each other, not only is everybody better for that, but you feel better about yourself when you take the time to take care of somebody or to check in. It makes you feel good. And I will tell you another thing that I've noticed is that before the COVID and all the restrictions, in my time, I would find that I just didn't have time to do some of the things I wanted to do, to read or to run, or some of those things that Ms. Hutt was saying that I like to do. But now I have a bit more time, and I think that for me as an adult, through my work career, I found that I was working more and more and more. So whether you count up the hours in a day or the hours in a week, it just seemed to be more and more and more all the time. So maybe this is a reminder to work a little less and spend a little bit more time with people and spend a little bit more time relaxing and caring for ourselves.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. That was a great interview. At City Hall School, lots of times my students are curious to know about the career pathway that our counselors have followed. And we're really lucky to have such a diverse background in our city council. And as he mentioned, Councillor Cartmell is a professional engineer. So some of the work that he's done has been in managing different building projects. So my challenge for you today, students, is a building one. So I'd like you to think like an engineer and maybe make some blueprints or some plans and consider materials and your options. You're to make a tower that's as tall as you. So you could use cans or books or Lego or blocks and consider how you're going to build that tower, and will it be stable, and is it taller than you? And if you're successful, try to push yourself a little bit further, make it as tall as the tallest person in the house. Good luck with that challenge. And thank you for watching. And thanks again, Councillor Cartmell. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Thanks,
Thank
Kira.
you.
Goodbye.
Thanks, Kira.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.